Good morning. Today I want to talk about something we all chase, success. But let's look at it the way a physicist might. You see, the universe obeys laws, and so does the journey to achievement. Just like Sir Isaac Newton discovered the laws that govern motion, there are laws of success that, if understood, can help us navigate life with clarity and momentum. Newton taught us that an object at rest stays at rest and an object in motion stays in motion, unless acted upon by an external force. Think about that in your own life. The habits you build, the decisions you make, the effort you put in, they are forces. Success, like motion, requires energy, direction, and persistence. And here's the beauty. Physics is not about memorizing formulas. It's about understanding how the world works. Likewise, success is not just about following rules. It's about seeing patterns, testing your limits, and letting curiosity guide you. So today, let's explore the Newton's laws of success. Laws that, if applied with a bit of Feynman-style wonder and rigor, can set your life in motion like never before. Imagine for a moment a ball lying quietly on a smooth surface. It doesn't move, not because it chooses to stay still, but because no force is acting on it. It simply exists in its current state. Now think of yourself in your own life, right now. If you are not moving toward your goals, if you are not taking deliberate actions every day, the world will not move you for you. Life does not come with a mechanism that automatically propels you toward achievement. Movement, momentum, and progress require force. They require energy applied in a direction. The truth is simple but profound. If you remain inactive, stagnant, or hesitant, nothing will change. You will remain exactly where you are unless you apply that push, that effort, that spark of initiative that sets you in motion. This principle is not abstract. It is as tangible as the physical laws that govern the universe. In the realm of physics, inertia is the property of matter that resists change in its state of motion. In human terms, inertia is your comfort, your habits, your routines that keep you tethered to the familiar. Some habits are gentle, like the quiet hum of daily routines, seemingly harmless. Others are heavy, like fear, self-doubt, or the allure of procrastination, creating a gravitational pull that keeps you from acting. And just like a ball resting on a flat surface, your potential energy, your talent, intelligence, and creativity remains dormant until you exert force to transform it into kinetic energy. The moment you act, the moment you push, you begin to move, and movement, once started, tends to continue if nurtured properly. Many people underestimate the value of small, consistent actions. They wait for a grand, dramatic moment, a surge of inspiration, a miraculous opportunity, or an external push. But in reality, the universe does not operate on inspiration alone. It responds to action. A slight tilt, a single step, a modest effort in the right direction can trigger a cascade of momentum. Imagine a snowball at the top of a hill. Alone, it is nothing but frozen matter, unremarkable and still. But once it starts rolling, even the smallest motion sets off a chain reaction. It gathers speed, it gathers mass, it gathers energy. Your effort works the same way. Begin moving, even modestly, and the momentum will compound. Energy begets energy, action breeds action, and progress, once started, has a tendency to continue. But there is another side to this law of motion. Just as it takes effort to start moving, it takes effort to maintain motion. A ball rolling on a surface will eventually slow if friction resists it, if obstacles impede it, if the path is uneven. Your journey toward success is no different. External forces will resist your progress, challenges, failures, criticism, distractions, and fatigue. Internal forces can resist as well. Fear, doubt, distraction, lack of discipline. To continue in motion, you must continually apply energy, adjust your trajectory, and maintain focus. Momentum is not passive. It requires mindful persistence. A small, consistent push every day is far more powerful than sporadic bursts of effort. Consider the lives of remarkable achievers. They did not wait for perfect circumstances. They acted in spite of imperfection. They started with small, deliberate steps, often when the odds seemed against them. Their consistency created motion. Their momentum carried them through moments of doubt, moments of failure, and moments when progress seemed invisible. Every effort, every repetition, every adjustment contributed to a growing kinetic energy that eventually became unstoppable. In human terms, success does not manifest in a single moment of genius. It manifests through accumulated motion, sustained action, and persistent effort. Now, let's examine the forces that can disrupt motion. Imagine a rolling ball hitting a patch of rough terrain. Friction slows it, obstacles deflect it, gravity pulls it off course. In life, these are the challenges, distractions, and setbacks that test your determination. You will encounter moments when moving forward feels impossible, when the effort seems to cancel out any visible progress, when inertia threatens to reclaim you. These moments are inevitable, but they are not permanent. Just as a physicist can calculate the force required to overcome friction, you can calculate the effort required to overcome your obstacles. It may require more energy, more focus, or a different angle of approach, but with deliberate application of force, movement continues. The beauty of this law is that once you overcome inertia, motion becomes easier. Once you start acting, momentum builds. Tasks that once seemed overwhelming begin to feel manageable. Challenges that once felt insurmountable start to appear as temporary friction, not permanent barriers. Action itself generates energy. Confidence grows, skill accumulates, and opportunities multiply. The person who has mastered the art of consistent action experiences a compounding effect similar to the compounding of energy in physics. Small inputs accumulate into large outputs over time. Movement, once initiated, sustains itself if continually nourished. Energy, in this context, is not merely physical exertion. It is mental focus, emotional resilience, and intellectual engagement. Applying energy toward a goal requires discipline, creativity, and sometimes courage. It requires saying no to distractions, ignoring the voices of doubt, and committing to your path, even when progress is slow or invisible. A person may have talent, resources, or potential, but without the application of energy, the assets remain dormant. It is the force of your deliberate actions that transforms potential into reality, that converts static potential into dynamic achievement. Inertia also has a subtle, often overlooked benefit. Once motion begins, it creates predictability. The rolling ball tends to keep rolling in the same direction unless acted upon by a stronger force. Your actions, when consistent and aligned with your goals, begin to shape your environment and influence the people around you. Momentum is contagious. Teams, organizations, and even social networks can be set into motion by a single individual who acts consistently. One person's effort can create a ripple effect, amplifying the impact far beyond the initial input. This is the principle of leverage. Consistent motion not only sustains itself, but also multiplies its influence. Yet, motion without direction can be wasted. A ball rolling aimlessly may eventually lose energy against friction, hitting obstacles that slow or stop it. Similarly, action without focus or purpose can burn energy without yielding results. Your efforts must be aligned with a clear vision. Direction is as important as energy. Without a defined path, momentum dissipates. With focus, each step compounds, each effort adds to the trajectory, and motion becomes unstoppable. Clarity of purpose transforms energy into meaningful movement, turning effort into measurable progress. The tendency to remain at rest is natural, even instinctual. Human beings are wired to conserve energy, avoid discomfort, and seek immediate gratification. These tendencies create resistance to action. But resistance is not a barrier to success. It is a signal that force is required. The first step is always the hardest because it is the step that breaks the equilibrium of inertia. The moment you take action, you create a new state of motion, a new trajectory, and a new reality. Every great achievement begins with that initial forceful push, no matter how small. Even small efforts are significant. A ball pushed slightly begins rolling. A person who takes even modest steps toward their goal begins accumulating momentum. Small, consistent actions are the building blocks of lasting success. They create habits, they build skill, and they generate confidence. Action is the spark that ignites the engine of progress, and momentum ensures that the engine continues to run once started. The power lies not in dramatic gestures, but in persistence, consistency, and the relentless application of energy in the right direction. Challenges will appear, and friction will always resist motion. You will encounter setbacks, failures, and distractions, but the same law that explains inertia also explains persistence. A moving object tends to stay in motion. Once you overcome initial resistance, once you break free from the state of rest, continued effort becomes easier. The energy you invest compounds, momentum grows, and over time, what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Consistency, more than brilliance, more than luck, more than inspiration, is the true determinant of long-term success. Your trajectory is determined not by the circumstances around you, but by the forces you apply. Each decision, each effort, each small action is a vector, influencing your speed, your direction, and your ultimate destination. By applying effort deliberately, persistent, and purposefully, you create motion that cannot easily be stopped. You create an unstoppable force, a trajectory of progress that defies resistance. The power of consistent motion is extraordinary, transformative, and available to anyone willing to act. Inertia is both a challenge and an opportunity. The same principle that keeps you at rest can be harnessed to keep you in motion once you start. The human mind, like a rolling ball, can gain speed, clarity, and power through continuous directed effort. Habits, once formed, sustain momentum. Skills, once practiced, compound. Confidence, once experienced, fuels further action. The key is to start, to push, to act despite fear, doubt, or uncertainty. The first step is always the hardest, but it is also the most transformative. Action requires courage because starting movement demands leaving the comfort of the known. But courage, like energy, grows with use. The act of moving generates momentum, and momentum reduces fear. Each successive step becomes easier, more confident, and more powerful. You do not need a perfect plan to begin. You only need the willingness to apply force in the direction of your goals. Imperfect action, repeated consistently, creates motion. Motion, once created, sustains itself and magnifies your efforts over time. Energy invested in movement is never wasted. Even failures contribute to momentum because they teach, they redirect, and they refine your trajectory. Friction, obstacles, and resistance are not signs of defeat. They are forces to be overcome. The more you act, the more experience you gain, the more momentum you build, and the more unstoppable you become. The first law of success is HES, simple yet profound. Movement must begin with action, and momentum must be nurtured with persistence. Imagine for a moment a powerful engine. At rest, it is still, quiet, and almost invisible. But once fuel is applied, it generates energy, motion, and impact. Your life operates under the same principle. Energy alone is not enough. It must be directed, concentrated, and purposeful. The universe responds to force applied with intention. The more focused your effort, the greater the acceleration toward your goal. Results are not random. They are proportional to the magnitude and direction of the energy you invest. Every achievement, every breakthrough, every milestone begins with a forceful, intentional push in a clear direction. Too often, people expend energy without results because their effort is scattered. They attempt many things at once, but nothing gains momentum. They act, but the energy dissipates into distractions, doubts, and fragmented attention. This is like firing a rocket without a guidance system. Powerful engines burn, but the vehicle drifts or worse, stalls entirely. The key to success is alignment. The energy you pour into your actions must be directed precisely, consistently, and intelligently toward the target you intend to reach. Focus transforms raw effort into acceleration, and acceleration transforms potential into achievement. Acceleration is more than speed, it is growth. The person who acts without strategy may move, but without acceleration, progress is slow, uneven, and unsustainable. Acceleration comes when mass, energy, and direction combine. Mass, in this analogy, represents your preparation, knowledge, and skill. Energy represents the effort, persistence, and intensity you apply. Direction represents clarity, vision, and purpose. When these three elements align, your trajectory shifts dramatically. Small, concentrated efforts applied to the right goal accelerate results exponentially. Consider a simple example. Two people set out to achieve the same objective. One disperses their energy across many unrelated tasks, acting inconsistently, guided more by impulse than plan. The other focuses their full energy every day in the direction of their chosen goal, continuously refining their skills and knowledge. The first may move occasionally, but progress is erratic and slow. The second accelerates, momentum builds, obstacles are overcome more easily, and results compound. Effort without direction is wasted energy. Energy with focus is unstoppable acceleration. This principle applies to every area of life, career, health, relationships, creativity, and personal growth. Intensity matters. The more concentrated, deliberate, and consistent your action, the faster you accelerate toward your aspirations. Results are rarely proportional to time alone. They are proportional to the intensity of effort applied in a directed manner. A few hours of deep, focused, high-quality action can achieve more than months of scattered, distracted activity. The universe, like the laws of physics, rewards force applied intelligently. Resistance is inevitable. Friction exists in every journey. External forces, criticism, obstacles, competition, failure, will push back against your motion. Internal forces, self-doubt, fatigue, fear, procrastination, will resist your energy. But force applied with proper direction overcomes resistance. Just as an athlete trains to increase strength, stamina, and skill, a person pursuing success must refine their energy, sharpen their focus, and sustain effort over time. Resistance is not a signal to stop. It is a signal to apply more focused energy with greater precision and intensity. Acceleration requires discipline. One cannot rely on inspiration alone. Motivation fluctuates like weather, sometimes strong, sometimes weak. Discipline, however, is the engine that maintains consistent force. Discipline ensures that energy is applied every day, even when it is difficult, inconvenient, or uncomfortable. Discipline ensures that the trajectory remains true, that acceleration continues despite temporary setbacks or fatigue. The individual who masters their energy, consistently applies it with focus, and resists the temptation of distraction is the individual who accelerates towards success at a rate far exceeding that of others. Effort is amplified by clarity of purpose. The more precise your direction, the less energy is wasted. Imagine a magnifying glass focusing sunlight onto a small point. The energy of the sun diffused across the broad sky has little effect. Concentrated through the lens, it generates heat intense enough to ignite fire. Your attention, like sunlight, has the power to create dramatic transformation when focused precisely on the target. Every action, every decision, every ounce of effort becomes exponentially more effective when guided by clarity of purpose. Acceleration also compounds over time. Continuous directed effort builds not only results but capability. Skills improve, confidence grows, networks expand, and opportunities multiply. This is the principle of cumulative advantage. Force applied intelligently does not merely produce immediate TE outcomes, it creates the conditions for faster, greater, and more sustainable acceleration in the future. The person who commits fully, works deliberately, and focuses energy on what truly matters positions themselves to achieve breakthroughs that appear effortless to those observing from the outside. Energy alone is insufficient. Raw effort without understanding is often wasted. Imagine pushing a boulder with all your strength, but in the wrong direction. The energy is immense, but results are negligible. Direction is the multiplier. Intelligence, strategy, and insight guide energy along the path of least resistance. They ensure that effort produces maximum acceleration. Study, planning, mentorship, feedback, and observation are essential tools to channel your energy effectively. Force without guidance is friction. Force with guidance is unstoppable acceleration. There is also a psychological dimension to this law. The human mind responds to visible progress. When effort produces results, motivation increases, effort intensifies, and acceleration compounds. When effort fails to produce outcomes due to scattering, distraction, or lack of focus, frustration builds, energy dissipates, and momentum stalls. The intelligent application of force ensures that energy generates results, and results reinforce further energy. Success, like acceleration, is self-reinforcing when guided by focus and discipline. Time, like space, is a constant factor. The sooner you begin applying energy in a directed manner, the faster you accumulate acceleration. Delay is costly because inertia sets in, habits are formed, and energy dissipates through scattered activity or procrastination. Every day spent acting with scattered effort is energy lost. Every day spent acting with focus is acceleration gained. The law is clear. Acceleration is cumulative. An early, concentrated effort creates a trajectory that compounds over months and years. One of the most important lessons in applying this principle is learning to prioritize. Not all energy is equal. Not all actions produce meaningful acceleration. Focusing on high-leverage activities, the actions that move you fastest toward your goal, is critical. Like a physicist calculating vectors, you must allocate energy to where it produces maximum impact. Low-value actions, distractions, or reactive behavior dissipate energy, slow acceleration, and reduce efficiency. Strategic application of energy magnifies results far beyond the quantity of effort alone. The intensity of effort matters, but so does consistency. Sporadic bursts of energy create temporary acceleration, but are insufficient for sustained results.